Hey, RetconRaider here. Today's video is dedicated to Alois and Jonathan Tanner. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, let's get started. And welcome back to Pathfinder Kingmaker, as we, once again, resume the adventures of Silverleaf and his merry band of misfits. Today, we're headed back towards Oleg's trading post to meet with Fredero Sinet, Valerie's former mentor who apparently wants to usher her back into the fold. Now, we've already cleared out the outskirts region, so this is a little out of our way, but we have to meet with Bakken anyway, so it's not that big a deal. Maybe we'll take a bit of a detour on our way back to Stag's Fall after, just to see if we can make it worth our while with some loot and XP. Anyway, let's get to it. Ah, nice. Something to warm ourselves up with. Alright, let's see what we've got here.
Just letting the ink dry.
Blood for Gorum!
Well, that was easy. But 22 XP is 22 XP. Oh, and we've got a kingdom event. Oh, looks like we've got our first settlement upgrade. That's a lot earlier than I'm used to. Jathal in Fury. Jathal is demanding an audience with the Baron. Something serious happened and enraged the undead elf. Well, that's just bad timing on her part. We won't be back in Stag's Fall for at least 3 or 4 days. A new phase in the life of your capital. Rebuild your capital into a lively town. It's time to grow and evolve. Very nice. The bigger your towns get, the more building points you get each week, and it also acts as a prerequisite for some of the other more ambitious projects. Of course, it is going to take us some time to save the building points we need. Unfortunately, our last batch of building pretty much cleaned us out. Anyway, I guess that's it. Back to Oleg's. Alright, let's go have a chat with Bakken, and then we'll see if we can track down Fredero. Or he could be standing in the middle of the road. We'll be right with you. Bakken, about those tasks of yours. Yes? Is this the book you wanted me to find? It is, yes. Let's take a look. A bit tattered, isn't it? Seen better days, that's for sure. But it'll do just fine. Thank you. Here's the second volume of that book set. Perfect. Hand it over, will you? Oh wait, I have this one. Well, this is awkward. And yet you kept it anyway. Of Transmutations and Bodily Poisons, Volume 3. Here you are, Bakken. Bakken's eyes glisten. Just what I need. All 3 volumes. All that's left now is to read through them, assemble all the necessary ingredients. But I can handle that myself. Thank you for your help. I'll send word once I've found something. Yeah, okay.
In due time.
Next up, we've got Fredero. But, based on what we've seen from Valerie so far, I think it's a pretty safe bet that this is going to go poorly. Let's toss a few buffs on her, just in case.
I wrote it like I saw it.
Focus on the goal.
I am your shield.
Time's not waiting.
Ooh, I probably could have timed that out better, but that'll have to do. Alright, let's do this. A middle-aged man in polished, shiny armor turns to you. His beard and hair are impeccably styled, and an expression of reserved politeness sits frozen on his face, as his piercing gray eyes watch everything attentively. Baron Silverleaf, what an honor to meet you in person. I am Fredero Sinet, a paladin of the most illustrious Shelyn, from the Eternal Rose Order. Fredero looks at Valerie. There you are, Valerie. How many years has it been since we saw each other? I'm so happy that the years haven't erased the divine bliss written upon your radiant face. Valerie nods to Sinet coldly. Greetings. I'm glad to see you in good health, Fredero. Tell me, Fredero, why are you here? The paladin looks right at you. As I mentioned in my letter, my goal is to return Valerie to Shelyn's grace. Several years ago, a terrible mistake was made. She whose fate was determined before she was born decided to resist her calling. I would appeal to Valerie's mind and remind her of her duty. You speak as though I am incapable of understanding where my duties lie. You have given me much cause for doubt. You are from the Eternal Rose Order, right? Exactly. I once guarded works that showed Shelyn's blessing. Works of art, beauty, and love. But that's a path for young and energetic paladins and priests. Now I've become a mentor in the Order. Many servants of Shelyn who now guard her creations were brought up by me, and I'm sure Valerie would have surpassed them all, had she not left our ranks. You knew Valerie as a girl. Tell me about her. Fredero smiles pensively. Do I possess the words to describe the chosen of Shelyn? Oh, don't look at me like that. I'm not the only one who believes it. A special role has been prepared for this girl in the ranks of the Eternal Rose's followers. I'm sure you've noticed Valerie's greatest virtue. She's impeccably loyal to whatever, or whomever, she serves. Her father did the right thing in sending his daughter into Shelyn's embrace, and Valerie's departure from the Order was just an unfortunate mistake of youth. I'm sure she regrets her desperate mistake, driven by hurt feelings and rash judgment. Only shame and pride have kept her from admitting it. Her true place is in the radiance of glorious Shelyn. My departure wasn't a mistake. It fixed someone else's mistake, which caused me to waste a few years of my life. Where are you planning to go? When Valerie joins my entourage, we will travel west, to the borders of Pitax. There, a new temple to my divine patron is being built, an architectural wonder worthy of harboring the very spirit of the Eternal Rose. One of the newer orders of Shelyn will occupy the temple, the Order of Prisms. Their zeal in serving the goddess will be good for Valerie. She has much to unlearn if she expects to return to Shelyn's favor, and the respect of her brothers in faith. You can barely hear Valerie's voice. I'm so tired of orders from those I despise. I think you should talk to Valerie alone. Don't go, Your Grace. My intentions are known to all. Valerie, I have come to return you to our faith. Our? Now you imagine that not only do I want to serve Shelyn, but now I have faith in her too. Fredero shakes his head. I don't recognize you, Valerie. What is this tone you address me with? I remember what politeness and respect you showed your elders. We held you up as an example for the other novices. Valerie raises her chin ever so slightly. I'm only repaying your courtesy and kind, Fredero. If you so easily ascribe to me thoughts and aspirations that I do not possess, then I can be as liberal a judge of your behavior. Oh dear. Valerie, don't get so steamed up. At this pace, we'll come to blows before we settle our disagreements. Valerie gives you a stern look. I haven't the slightest desire to quarrel, Silverleaf. I'm here to put an end to a story that's already gone on for too long, and that is all. As for my return to the church, which you so bluntly insist upon, Valerie pulls her chin up. Please, Fredero, spare me your wordy speeches. The day I walked out the convent gates, I made a decision I'm not going to change. I'm never returning to the Eternal Rose Order. I'm never going back to serving Shelyn. Whatever nonsense you started with your letter, let's put an end to it, once and for all. Fredero studies Valerie's face for a long time. His eyes turn steel gray. I don't believe my ears. I expected to see repentance, Valerie. Repentance for your foolish choices. Repentance for the pain you've caused your family and all those who relied on you. But instead, I see a proud renegade who dares to resist the will of the goddess, and who would defy me, the one who labored to bring you up and teach you. I have to admit, you're somewhat right. Lindsay stops under Valerie's glare and moves away apprehensively. Red spots start to appear on Valerie's cheeks, and she catches her breath with some difficulty. I am not in the least surprised by your words, Fredero. You have always been deaf to anything that goes against your beliefs. I'm not Shelyn's chosen. I'm not a god's toy, created to entertain the whimsical goddess. I'm not... Quiet, quiet, before you bring her wrath upon you. How dare you, who is bestowed with celestial beauty, so insolently reject such gifts that others can only dream about? Your fate is already decided, laid out as a fine carpet before you. Enough. I didn't come here to listen to a spoiled child speaking out of turn, but only to bring you home, and I will take you by the ear and drag you all the way to the Order's convent, if that's what it takes. I think we all need to calm down a little. Valerie interrupts you. She is almost screaming. What you call home, Fredero, was my prison. My home is here, in these lands, for which the Baron and I have fought and shed our blood. Here, beside the one I vowed to serve, and whom I shan't leave until I die. Here in the stolen lands where, for the first time, I can decide for myself where I belong and what I believe. Valerie's voice grows soft, almost like a hissing snake. take your people, Fredero, and go back to the Eternal Rose Abbey. And if you've the nerve to claim I'm Shelyn's chosen, well, know that your precious goddess should have chosen her trinkets more carefully. Fredero grows white as a sheet. How dare you? I think that's enough, Valerie. Fredero looks Valerie in the eye. The paladin's hand is on his weapon. If you insist on standing equal to Shelyn's paladin, answer for your words now. If you have a drop of dignity left, you won't deny me satisfaction. Valerie looks at the enraged paladin fearlessly. Oh, so now I'm suddenly an independent person in your eyes. Finally. Well then, I shall agree to this duel with indescribable pleasure. Silverleaf, you shall be my second. I won't let you kill each other right in front of me. Hey, I just woke up after all that chatter, and you went and ruined all the fun before it could even get started. Not a good time, Amiri. Fredero doesn't look at you, so intently is he burning Valerie with his eyes. Forgive me, your grace, but I'm not leaving until I've taught this impulsive girl a lesson. I was hoping that Valerie's good sense would prevail over her insolence, but alas, the situation unfolds otherwise. Valerie allows herself a faint smile. Don't worry, Silverleaf. This misunderstanding will only take a few minutes. Then Sir Sinet will pick up the shreds of his pride and spare us of his presence forever. Well, I tried. All right, let's get this over with. What would you have me do? The second's responsibilities include observing the fight, mediating in the duel, and, should the circumstances require, declaring the final verdict. Valerie reaches for her weapon. I think here is good enough. Step away, Silverleaf. I don't want to hit you by accident. Let's see whether you learned anything more than insolence from your mercenary friends. One of my squires will be my second. Would everyone please clear the dueling ground, and do not interfere until a winner has been determined. What are you doing here? Don't worry, good master. We'll settle our argument quickly, and do no harm to your trading post. So, Valerie, are you ready? I am, Fredero. Let your second start the countdown. Let's begin. Participants, please ready your weapons and assume your positions. 3, 2, attack! Okay, first things first, let's check our buffs here. Yeah, they burn through about 50 seconds worth. Not sure how tough Fredero is, but let's see if we can get a feel for him. Let's take a look at the numbers. Oh, yeah, he's got 31 AC. We'll have to stack the odds here.
Let us strike as one!
Man, so we still need an 18 or higher to hit him. Oh boy, this might take a while. Oh, very nice.
Ah! Ha!
Ooh, okay, we're getting a little too close here, so let's cheese out a little. Good thing we've stockpiled all these potions. That might be overkill. Oh, well, we, didn't need the potions after all. Fredero kneels heavily on one knee, wheezing and spluttering. Right. You always were better at fighting than at evolving your spirit and character. Valerie stands over her defeated adversary, gripping her weapon. She momentarily takes her eyes off Fredero, bent low before her, and looks to you. The duel's over. Valerie is the winner. Valerie lowers her weapon with obvious relief. Enough, Fredero. You got what you wanted. Leave the lands of the Baron. End my life. Forever. I obey the word of the victor. Farewell, Valerie. All the best, Baron. I hope this warrior serves you better than her goddess. Dear gods, your face, Valerie. What, is there something? Valerie touches the wound crossing her face and looks at the blood on her fingers, more baffled than scared. Let me heal you. She touches the wound again, winces, and finally waves it off. It is nothing. I do not even feel any pain, only fatigue. Save your pity for someone who is truly wounded. And I just need to rest and wash myself clean after all these conversations about Shelyn. Wow, that got pretty messy. I don't think anyone walked away happy. I'll be curious to see what Valerie has to say once we get back to Stag's Fall.
That is not far.
Let's get back to it. Okay. Now, we could head straight back to Stag's Fall, but that would basically be a waste of a day, so let's do a little exploring instead. Unfortunately, we have covered pretty much all of the outskirts already, so we'll need to take a detour over here into the Gnarl Marches. I think we'll fill in this area right here. Then we'll head back to Stag's Fall. Let's take a peek at the Tenebrous Depths. We're not going in. I just want to scout the entrance. Alright, there's our entrance. Now let's see what the Gnarl Marches have for us. I think we'll follow the river here, just as far as the ruined tower. Of course. Well, we'll worry about that place a little later. Here we go. Pike Stretch. A wide, slow stretch of the Shelyn River, flowing lazily between reeds and weeping willows. The murky waters are a great place to fish for perch, bream, and long, fat pike. That's not right. We stopped on the banks of the Shelyn River. It was quiet, too quiet. It was no secret that a whole flotilla of pirates called the Shelyn their home, and King Iravetti hadn't lifted a finger against them. The oppressive silence and the sense of a looming threat were like a weight upon our backs. I began to count how many unfinished tasks we had on this side of the Shelyn. Why must we go west at all? No one was waiting to greet us on that foreign land. Okay, I'm picking up some pretty strong signals here. The Baron gave us a sign, and the whole party froze, listening for any sound. Above the splashing waves, we could barely make out the creak of a bowstring and the sound of a paddle slapping the water. Pirate boats were most definitely waiting for us, hidden along the opposite bank. The Baron shouted out, asking if there was anybody on the opposite bank, and if there was a chance we might part ways peacefully. Silence reigned for a time, and then an answer came from the opposite shore. A harsh and rather rude voice informed us that if we wanted to cross the river, we'd have to pay. Alas, the price, everything that we had, seemed rather high. Okay, I think it's safe to say that this is another plot gate, similar to the mist from Chapter 1 or the guards surrounding Varnhold. We'll back off for now. We discussed the situation, evaluated the threat of an ambush, and decided there were more pressing matters at hand. The western bank could wait. All right, back to the Gnarl Marches. Yeah, I think that's far enough. Sunny Hillock. A rocky hummock, warm and sunny on clear days. Laughter and songs can sometimes be heard from seemingly invisible forest dwellers out basking in the sunlight. The locals stay away from it, and travelers try to pass it as quickly as possible, clutching their weapons and praying to their gods all the while. Well, that doesn't sound good. Oh, but before we go in there, we should probably get some rest.
Lindsay, what are you writing so diligently there? And why are you looking at me like that? Did you decide to write me an ode, too?
You got it. Here it is. Listen. There once lived a paladin of Shelyn, whose courage was so unfailing. Hey, that's my ink pot. Don't throw it at me!
Lindsay, we really need to have a talk about proper timing. Alright, let's check this place out. Oh, that's unusual. I think it's safe to say we've got Fae in the area. You know what? Let's toss up some buffs before we go any further.
And Lindsay was called forth.
I am yours to command.
I know what to do.
Keep your eyes open.
Adventures call to them.
I really need to remember that metamagic rod.
Anything is possible.
The end draws near.
Okay, heroes. Proceed with caution. Hello?
As it should be.
Help! Someone, help! Some unknown force erected this tower by balancing crates and barrels atop one another. It's impossible to predict how long this unreliable construction will remain standing. A stout, middle-aged man is fighting to keep his balance on top of the creaking tower. He's terrified, and sweat is running down his face. So much so, it's soaked his shirt through. For the sake of all gods, take me down before I break my neck! Who are you? I'm Tamrath, a paint vendor. I'll be happy to tell you the story of my life after you help me down. What happened here? Damned Fae and their pranks, that's what happened. They sprang from the woods, hexed my horse and cart, killed my coachman, stole my paints, and then put me up here. Hold on, I'll help you. Abadar be praised, finally. Jump, I'll catch you. Oh. The man's face becomes paler with every passing second. All right, Tamrath, pull yourself together. 1, 2, 3. Tamrath tries to steady himself and prepares to jump. As he does, the makeshift tower begins to sway dangerously. With a yelp, Tamrath leaps as the tower begins to tumble down, crates falling everywhere. You extend your arms forward to catch him. And you succeed. Struggling with the effort, Amiri sets the vendor on the ground as best she can. Thank the gods, I'm saved. Thank you, too. If only poor Avim was as lucky. The vendor throws a glance at the blood pooling beneath the miniature card. Tell me about yourself. Of course, I'm Tamrath from Galt, and I make my living selling paints. I buy them in the city and then travel to villages in the area, selling them. Everybody wins. The peasants don't have to travel to the city, and I provide for my family. What exactly happened here? I was carrying my wares to the neighboring village. I've heard strange stories of odd happenings on this road, but I didn't listen, the old fool that I am. My coachman Avim and I were barely halfway to the village when a crowd of Fae sprang out of the woods, laughing and encircled us. And we didn't stand a chance. They started to rummage through the cart. Then, I could scarcely believe it, they began building this ridiculous tower, arguing about what they should call it. But while they were building it, one of the crates fell and cracked open. And the paints, they were fascinated by them. But They couldn't find a canvas, so they decided to paint our poor horse, Garland. They made him huge with their magic and started to color him, each in their own way. Garland just couldn't stop rearing, he was so scared, and Avum couldn't take it anymore. He loved Garland so much. The vendor is silent for a moment, his face pained. Avum, oh Avum, we've been through so much together. Long story short, Avum broke free and tried to drive the Fae away. That's when Garland fled. The Fae were ready to kill poor Avum where he stood, but the woman who led them proposed a joke instead. Before I knew it, they had put me on top of the tower so I couldn't disturb them. And then they stuffed poor Avum into the cart, with the remainder of the boxes. And then shrunk the cart. Tamrath swallows. But not Avum. So, how did they call this tower, Tamrath? The vendor winces. Temple of Solitary Contemplation. Where can I find the Fae who did this? Suddenly, you hear branches rustle and noise from the nearby bushes, becoming louder and louder. Help! I'm right here, Tamrath. Oh, well, we might be in over our heads here.
Enemy approaching.
Yeah, no kidding. Alright, let's fall back real quick, see if we can draw them into a choke point. No, not enough time.
Repent.
Shoot. I just...
I'm writing you out of our story.
I just tangled up our formation, so... we need to shuffle our guys real quick. Get the frontliners up front.
Do not falter!
Okay, that should be good. From the hill summit, a slim and miniature woman with dark hair and pale, almost moonlit skin is regarding you curiously. There is a light smile on her lips, but her eyes are like the cold depths of an ocean. Judging by her appearance, she can only be a Nereid. So that's who spoiled our fun and killed the guardians we left to watch over our new friend. We didn't invite you to participate in our game, but still you intervened and ruined everything. Why? There's nothing amusing in making others suffer. Can't you see that? Suffering comes and goes. If someone played a trick like that on me, I wouldn't hold a grudge for long, though I'd repay the giver with a joke of my own. The only things of value are those able to leave a mark. Wish we had Tristan with us. He's got a much better persuasion score. Pain, blood, screams for help, smashed bodies. This is no humor. This is unjustified cruelty. Real jests. True humor brings joy. Have you seen any joy on the faces of those unlucky enough to cross your path? The Nereid gives you a puzzled look. I never thought about it from that perspective. So be it. I'll fix what can still be fixed. And she's gone. I guess that's it then.
In due time.
What's that?
Thank you. I dread to imagine what could have happened to me if not for you. Please, take this as a sign of my gratitude. Well, thank you. I didn't ask for a reward, but I certainly won't turn it down. Don't look at me like that. Okay, we've hit the 40-minute mark, so let's finish walking the perimeter here, and then I think we've reached a pretty good stopping point.
All according to plan. Follow my lead.
Nothing. That's a little surprising. But I guess that's fine.
In due time.
Alright, folks. We're past the 40-minute mark, and I've got a mini episode to work on too, so let's go ahead and hit the pause button for now. We'll pick up here next time, as we continue exploring the dire Gnarl Marches, and then head back to Stag's Fall to see what's going on with Jaethal. See you then. Oh, and remember, although I do love playing Pathfinder Kingmaker, you can find out more about the game by visiting the official website, the official YouTube channel, the official Discord server, the official Facebook page, the official Twitter feed, the Vanrun Wiki, or the original crowdfunding campaign over on Kickstarter. Links are in the description.